Hello, welcome to the Ant-Man channel. It is Friday the 2nd of August 2013 and I am Ant-Man. You guys, there is a article in front of me here that is from WND.com. This is a front page article. It just came in. It is entitled, "Editor Fired Over Shove It, Obama Headline. This newspaper will not permit violations on its standards." And before I get into this article, you can already tell that, I'm sure a lot of you have already heard about this this topic, but it's just, to me, like, amazing that the journalists in this country get attacked for reporting news, just saying what it is. Let's call a spade a spade. Let's call a tyrant a tyrant. Let's call a socialist a socialist. Why don't we? Because it's that learned helplessness, I guess, of like knowing that if you don't trust the government, you don't get a free meal. I think that's what keeps people ignorant these days, because I think everybody knows this stuff now. I think everybody knows now. I think it's just the difference is between the spineless jellyfish and the real men that take issues head on and can face facts, with the jellyfish that want to do anything they can to download the matrix that the propaganda dinosaur media portrays to you as reality. The Chattanooga Times Free Press editorial page editor who criticized President Obama's job plan by telling the president to shove it is now out of a job. Drew Johnson's editorial titled, "Take your jobs plan and shove it, Mr. President. Your policies have harmed Chattanooga enough," went viral and drew national attention earlier this week when President Obama visited the city. Johnson, who had been with the newspaper for just over a year, addressed his firing with a classic comment on Twitter. It's always on Twitter. In MMA, it's always like fights getting set up on Twitter. Even in politics, there's people just going back and forth on Twitter. Twitter's the funniest media, in my opinion, because it seems such like a... It's funny how people who don't know about Twitter don't know, like, if people even use it, and you'd be surprised if you went on there how many people use it. It's a good thing. It's a useful tool. It's absolutely, it's like kind of how, like, when old people, when they know that you get your information off the internet because they're old and they pay so much attention to the dinosaur media that they have like this meme where it's like, "Oh, where'd you hear that on the internet?" And it's like, well, you could use things for good and bad. You could be an idiot and you could be smart with the things that you have. Like, if I was an idiot, for example, not calling myself the most genius person ever, but if I was an idiot, I would be on the internet looking at MSNBC. You know what I mean? Some people I know like to watch the mainstream dinosaur media because they know how to decipher their left liberal lens filtered rhetoric. They know how to, like, translate it somehow. But unless you've been, you're really good on your politics, it's hard to catch up with these things sometimes. Johnson, who had been with the newspaper, okay, there you go. I just became the first person in the history of newspapers to be fired for writing a paper's most read article. He tweeted, "We change headlines all the time without incident or issue." And here we have the whole back and forth thing here with Daryl Stalvey and Drew Johnson, And Drew Johnson tweets, "I just became the first person in the history of newspapers to be fired for writing a paper's most read article." And Daryl Stalvey said, "I thought you were fired for not following the approval process." And then he puts Drew Johnson to Daryl, "We change headlines all the time at the last minute. I had a filler headline in that stunk and thought of that Johnny Paycheck song." Anytime the paper wanted to change the headline online, which is how most people read the editorial, they could have. So, worse yet, Johnson said the policy he reportedly broke did not exist when he changed the headline. It was created after people complained about the headline and was applied retroactively, he tweeted. Sometimes we have teachers, even though public schools are as bad as they are, we could still have like these, like I do. I have memories of teachers that were very influential in my life. Like in 4th grade, I had a teacher named Mr. Carlson. Mr. Carlson made us watch a movie called The Newsies. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's a silly musical movie about people who deliver newspapers, and it's about the free press and the right to report the news. Why would our fourth grade teacher show us something like that? Well, because it's important to know that you have the right to say whatever you want. It's not a country where you can. This isn't North Korea where if you tell people the way things are, if you tell people that there is a God, if you tell people that the government's corrupt, and you get put in jail, tortured, killed, you're allowed to do that in this country. But you see through like MTV and like the radio, whatever brainwash you're connected into, they condition you to and a lot of through movies. There's this really cool game that I like. It's called what the heck is it called? We just got it on PS3. The Last Stand or something like that. Man, I forgot. Somebody help me. It's a cool game. It's made by the people who make it's by the people that make Uncharted. In the video games now, you can see how they're conditioning you to accept seeing military all over the streets and being acclimated to martial law. It's so crazy. Like, you see it in the movies, you see it in video games, and if you don't believe me, just turn it on and look at it a little closer and see that that's what it is. The new Batman movie was on martial law. Everything is conditioning you to, it. The elite, the Illuminati, what they do is that they show you something as a warning, but if you don't pick up on it, they blame it on you for not catching on and being smart enough to know what they're trying to tell you. They leave their signs and symbols everywhere. Anyway, Johnson added to answer a question I've gotten a lot. I feel confident that if the headline had referenced Bush instead of Obama, I would still have a job. In an interview with Fox News, he said his criticism of the president's job plans was in line with the views of many readers, but his bosses were dealing with complaints. Well, yeah, just like how the ACLU goes and threatens to sue, principals because their teachers are teaching creation. The principals get punked into saying, fine, we'll teach Darwinian evolution, don't sue me. I don't want to be in a court case. You see, even if they did sue you, they don't have any ground to win a case. They'll waste your time, they'll make you spend a lot of money. It's unfair. But that's how they do it. They do it through fear and intimidation, my friend. In an interview with Fox, the editor said that she was disappointed in the headline, that she thought it was crass, and she'd gotten a lot of complaints by Obama supporters. Oh, he said, recalling a meeting he had with the editor earlier in the week. The Obama administration cares a little too much what I think stupid people think, Stupid people are the ones that talk the most, and they're the ones that complain the most. They're cynical. Everything that they see is, they have to have something to complain about. I know these types very well, and these are the types that your administration are listening to, and either by design or because they're really afraid of those people. Who knows? I know I'm not afraid of a bunch of perverts that like to murder babies. I'm not afraid of you. The newspaper released a statement Thursday saying Johnson had been fired for placing a headline on an editorial outside of normal editing procedures. The headline was inappropriate for this newspaper. The statement read it was not the original headline approved for publication, and Johnson violated the normal editing process when he changed the headline. It was inappropriate for this newspaper. That reminds me, like when I read MSNBC or NBC or USA Today, I think those are probably the biggest communist newspaper, just journalists that there are out there. Those guys talk to you like you're literally an idiot, like you're a monkey. Like they literally talk to you like that. It's really, I resent when I read an article, some type of breaking news from the USA Today because of the way they talk to you. Is just so resentful. The newspaper denied Johnson's firing had anything to do with the content of his editorial. Just like how the unemployment rate is at 7.4% today. How dare they lie to you like that? Don't you think? Don't you think it's like very bold of someone to lie to you like that? Just bold-faced lying to your face about something like that? It's preposterous. The Free Press page has often printed editorials critical of the president and his policies, the newspaper stated. I wonder why. This newspaper places its high value on expressions of divergent opinion, but what will not permit violations of its standards. I think the next step here is that we're going to see journalists turned into like how the police have been turned into. Like they're not going to... no one's going to hire a journalist with a higher than 100 IQ. Because if you do hire a journalist like that, he's going to report real news. Just like if you hired a cop with a higher than 100 IQ, he would actually do his job. So you would have journalists with pea brains that are just gonna do what they're told. They might as well install a teleprompter in their brain that projects it, and they can see it, and they can just not think for themselves, but just read whatever the administration, tells them to read. I'm having my coffee black today. Oh, but I should watch that. That's probably racist to say that I'm having my coffee black right now, which I never do. I usually put creamer in there. Oh, that's racist. You prefer white over black. That's the common sense of the general public nowadays, you guys. You can't have a black coffee, and say that you prefer it with creamer, but there isn't any without being a racist. And I'm probably exaggerating to a little bit, but I wouldn't be surprised because sometimes, man, every day I'm like, I see stuff that's so stupid it doesn't calculate in my mind. I feel like I lose brain cells sometimes when I see these articles. So the newspaper has since removed the original Shove It headline and replaced it with the genetic line, President Obama's policies have harmed Chattanooga enough. As WND reported, the no-holds-barred commentary greeted President Barack Obama, in an entirely new way as he traveled to Chattanooga, Tennessee, to visit an Amazon.com business center and lobby for his newest strategy to try to create jobs for Americans. That's laughable. While you're deindustrializing our country, while you're shipping all of our jobs to China, oh yeah, you're trying to create jobs for us, and indeed. Forgive us if you are not greeted with the same level of southern hospitality that our area usually bestows on its distinguished guests, editors admonished. You see, we understand you are in town to share your umpteenth different job creation plan during your time in office. If it works as well as your other job creation programs, then thanks, but no thanks. We'd prefer you keep it to yourself, the newspaper said. That's because your jobs creation plans are so far have included a ridiculous government spending spree and punitive tax increase on job creators that were passed, as well as a minimum wage increase that thankfully was not economists and regular folks with a basic understanding of math understanding that these are three of the most damaging policies imaginable when a country is mired in unemployment and starving for job growth. It's funny about yuppies. I have friends that are yuppies, but I'm going to keep them unnamed. But I hear them sometimes say, Canada has free health care. I wish we had free. Well, Obamacare is free health care, but it's not free at all. As a matter of fact, if you read into it, it is a plan to destroy the middle class. But what do I know, right? I'm just a punk 27-year-old. What can I know, right? I gotta be a 200-year-old with a big old white beard for anyone to listen to me. Oh no, even better. I gotta be a douche wearing a suit, reading off of a teleprompter with a $220,000 job annually for people to listen to me. Because see, you gotta go to Harvard for people to listen to you, people. You can't just be normal. Just like how Ray Comfort goes and he discusses creation, and then like some professor will come out, this is coming from some guy with a high school diploma, and it's like, oh jeez. It's like, you guys are so indoctrinated Soviet style that you don't even see it. At Amazon's Chattanooga Fulfillment Center, Obama boasted of creating 7.2 million new jobs over the last 40 months because of the grit and resilience of the American people. The newspaper noted 64% of Chattanooga respondents said that they would rather you hadn't chosen to visit our fair city, but the editorial said it actually was good that Obama visited. I say Chattanooga should be put on lockdown, roll out the Homeland Security troops, have everybody, turn in their guns because they don't like President Obama. They should be called tyrants. It will give you an opportunity to see the failure of your most comprehensive job plans to date. The disastrous stimulus scheme, up close and personal, the editorial said. Johnson's termination was the talk of the paper's Facebook page, with most visitors taking the newspaper to task for firing an opinion page editor. Free press means free to print as long as the Politburo approves it, right? One person asked. You have free press in your name, but someone gets fired for their opinion. Wow. Added another person. So fired the guy who wrote his opinions against the president. That's cool. Free press. Right. Opined another Facebook user. Johnson revealed via Twitter that his firing comes just 2 weeks before his wedding. He vows to continue defending liberty and free market principles when he lands another job. I guess we need martyrs in this country. We need more Ed Snowdens. We need more, what's this gentleman's name? Drew Johnsons. We need more people that are willing to get pushed off the grid or fired from their job to stand for liberty. That's the main reason why these evolutionary psychologists that teach in our public schools have their jobs, because they don't want to lose their job, because if they teach creation, they'll lose their job, or they'll get sued, they'll get threatened by vampire lawyers. That's the reason why you have all these people working for government corruption, because they don't want to lose their job in this economy. Well, I say screw your dead-end job. I say let's get our Constitution back. And if you guys like my channel, go ahead and subscribe. And if you like my articles, whatever, come back anytime. So God bless and have a good day.